Welcome to Live, Life Inspired Views for Every Day. My name is Chris Meyer, and I'm a curious soul. In the movie The Lion King, there's a powerful scene when Simba, the now grown lion, looks into the water expecting to see his father, but sees only his own reflection. Rafiki, the wise baboon, encourages them to look at the reflection again. He tells him that his father is still alive, that he lives in him. When Simba hears his father's voice, he looks up into the night sky and sees a vision of his father who says, Simba, remember who you are. Oh, I love that scene. Every other week, I drive up to Minneapolis to see my 96-year-old mom and my sister Frida, who mom lives with. It's about an hour and a half drive from Rochester. So you know what I've started doing? I listen to my past podcasts. In fact, I sometimes even listen to them in the mornings while getting ready or doing tasks like cleaning. I first did that to review what I have shared with you so I don't repeat things too often. But what I have found in addition, and most importantly, is that listening to them reminds me who I am. I never share things that I do not believe or hold as a value. I do not share things I do not strive to live by. I started sharing and started writing these podcasts to encourage people to live life fully, to deal with adversity, to learn skills in getting along with others, to learn important ways of living by forgiving, adapting, and learning and loving. As I re listen to these podcasts, it's a living reminder to me who I am. I've repeated stories that I have told hundreds of times. I have shared favorite quotes and adages over and over. I have shared new thoughts, research, quotes, or new stories that I have discovered and been inspired by. So listening to them again also reminds me of who I aspire to become. Though there are many varieties of stories, quotes, and concepts, most of them can be filed under a few basic themes that I hold dear. So as I re listen to these podcasts, they serve as reminders to me, reminders of the way I want to be, to live. Last Friday, while driving, I was listening to the podcast published on July 21st last year. In it, I quoted Epictetus, who said, We become what we give our attention to. I shared that if we think of the wrongs done to us and become obsessed with revenge over those perceived wrongs, we will find it easier and easier to fall into the mire of hate and resentment. But if we give our attention to forgiving, we find ourselves free, free from an internal prison. Remember, in matters of forgiveness, there's always a prisoner, the one needing forgiveness or the one withholding it. When I think of a beautiful image of forgiveness, I remember in the latest Cinderella movie when she was about to leave her house where her stepmother had kept her prisoner in the attic, lest the prince discover her as the mysterious owner of the glass slipper. As they leave, the prince and Cinderella look back at the stepmother coming down the stairs. Cinderella turns to her and says simply, I forgive you. The look of anguish on the face of the stepmother lets us know she has just entered into her own prison, while Cinderella walks away free. The next week's podcast from July 7th, I shared the quote from Margaret Atwood. In the end, she said, we'll all become stories. I queried to you listeners, what stories do you want to be said or remembered about you? My friend Larry Winters shared this quote from an unknown source. Kindness is the most tender and powerful way of leaving a memory inside people's hearts. We have seen so much amazing kindness during these days, these difficult days in Minnesota. When these times of turmoil are behind us, I hope the memories of kindnesses done are more powerful than anything else, because I believe that will be the thing that produces the healing we as people, as communities, as states, as a country will need. As some unknown source once said, heal so you can hear what is being said without the filter of your wounds. That is so powerful, so true, and sometimes so hard. As Richard Rohr so wisely said, if you do not transform your pain, you will transmit it. We have all struggled with anger at the horrible things that we have seen done to our fellow human beings. We are angry that we have lost trust. So we must all work to find the shelter of someone to help heal the wounds we've all experienced in some way. As have told my counseling students many, many times, we must find someone to bear witness to the pain we have absorbed. Forgiveness and kindness are balms of healing. William R. White shares in his book Stories for Telling. He said true stories carry and nurture us by helping us to see things as they are as well as what they can become. Hmm. Stories help us to identify and to see ourselves, to remember who we are. Lately, the stories that help my soul heal and find hope are the stories of singing, of the big groups of people in Minneapolis and even other places in the world that are singing songs of encouragement to each other, to those suffering, and to all the world. They are singing stories and songs of hope. This week, on your bathroom mirror, write, "Remember who I am." Then live your story. Join me next Monday for Live, Life Inspired Views for Every Day. I'm Chris Meyer, and I'm a curious soul.